all there?
Carissa.
You're with. What was that?
That was Siri.
Oh, Carissa, you're there?
Yep. How are you?
Okay, fine. So far, we have one plug-in. Hey, Carissa Adams, thank you very much.
And Kira's there.
And there's a reason for that. All right, so welcome to the annual Hunt Building Center hostess meeting. Oh, hi, how you doing? Here, sit down. And this is an important meeting. And I'm just curious with those individuals here, who are the first timers? First timer coaching. You've all coached here before? Okay, all right. Because it's important that all of the schools get the word out. Now, some administration. This is being recorded, and all the documents that we refer to are linked. So there's no reason that people say, I didn't know. I didn't know. And I'll try to be happy. I'm not grumpy. Right. So you all know Mariel Tucker, Director of Operations, who helps me get things going all the time and reminds me of things that I should also be doing. But let's do a real quick introduction, just in case. Why don't you sit?
I'm Katie. I'm the head coach of Vermont Rowing, or ladies version. Heather, White Marsh president, not a coach.
Susan Harmon, coach at White Marsh.
With Heather, Bill Moran. Rachel, Notre Dame.
Prince Andrews, care. Dave Gates, White Marsh.
What are these two?
Yeah.
What that are, Kurt, Dave, Jackman, Lower Mary, Jason Beck, White Marsh.
Marty Overton, Mark.
Dave Galley, Vice President, White Marsh.
Dick O'Hearn from Germantown Academy.
Tim Hayden, Cabrini.
Oh, I'm supplying now.
Travis Schilling, Brad Maduro.
Oh, yeah, okay, good. Anyway, let's try to make this a conversation, give and take, helping one another to live safely, comfortably, and successfully. All right, so the theme every year for me is safety. I just what can we do to make this sport safer? And who's that? Oh, you know, Joe Sullivan is probably coming off the water. I think. Right.
That's gonna be taking our pictures.
And I also want to remind the coaches. Who is that?
Aaron Freetown, he's helping with White Marsh.
Okay, all right.
Sorry. You can introduce yourself, sorry. This is Aaron Freetown, White Marsh. It's a conversation.
Okay, all right, so. Oh, there, okay. All right, so we may have some others join us, and that's okay, that's fine. I am Lois French Hines. I am the person responsible for all of you. Safety in the 3.24 acres. I'm saying that because we're here, but we're on the water. And I have to remind all the coaches that you are legally responsible for the safety of everyone that you are taking out and coaching. Now, if you're not coaching somebody just takes a boat at you. That's something different. Because I don't mind telling you, I worry constantly until that water temperature is 70 degrees. Especially in the spring when we have all the new people. We do have our guidelines as to, I used to have a duck in the water with the temperature. I don't know what.
There's a
happened.
turtle,
Go get
there's a
another-
turtle now, the turtle with the temperature on it.
Right, with the temperature on it, and we'll get another one. You want to make a note?
Sure.
All right, so, anyway, I'm hoping that, okay, so the Mount building is represented. Carissa, you're represented, and, Craig Hoffman thought he might be able to make it. Oh, here comes Joe. Hey, Joe, grab a chair. Grab a chair.
Hey, Mario, Blair's in the waiting room.
Okay, thank you.
Why I have invited Craig Hoffman and Carissa? Because the three of us have talked. We're like the three different pillars in the upper school. And it's important that we communicate with one another, Carissa, Craig, and myself, all of these people. Because we live with one another. And we interact with one another, and we have to be able to, let's say, be productive. And what I'm hoping that we can do, and I'm not talking about, like the Schuylkill Navy and their boathouses and their rules of the river. We have to be on the river with communications. We did some of that last year. I'd like to do it again. But also with common courtesy and common sense. A number of people who read my husband's obituary didn't believe it when it read that George never spoke one foul word. I never heard it, and his boys said. He managed to have successful national champion crews without foul language. There's no reason for it. Because all of a sudden, it makes people uneasy, especially young kids. You are responsible for our future. And if you don't set the right kind of tone and respect, it all falls apart. So I'm just hoping, oh, there's Meg Kennedy. He's the head coach of the mountain crew. We're just talking about how, Meg, that we have to really work together, all three pillars, and to talk to one another. And I do hope that there will be opportunities where we will. And hopefully we can do some things on the upper Schuylkill River that need to be done. And I think it's this year, we're growing, we have more people, we have more traffic on the river. So this is my request today. Please start thinking about the future. Okay, so that's what I'm calling the upper Schuylkill River community. We're a community. And we have to be able to talk and not yell at one another. And also respect our situation here with launching and returning. That's, I think, the trickiest thing we have. Especially in the spring. So we'll get into that a little bit more. I really don't want to do much talking. I'd rather have you all talk among yourselves. And that's it. But I'll start off with my usual gripe of I tell your youngsters who are driving that the police are getting a little bit more tuned into afternoon traffic. And they're going to nail them. They're going to ticket them, I was told. For the ones who speed up down the road, or they don't drag race, but they do drive too fast. I always said, if you see dust in your rear view mirror, you know you're going too fast. Okay? So Washington Street's 25 miles per hour. Also, the coaches, I'm asking you to get through to your children, to get to their parents, that of our traffic pattern, our pickup and our traffic pattern. We have, everything's on the web. You've all heard me talk enough. You've all heard me lose my cool out there with the parents who tell me they don't speak English, yet they can get driver's licenses. I mean, I really should write a little book. Okay, so parking lots, traffic lights. This is you, right? All right, so I'm going to go sit down so I don't annoy you.
Right, well, thank you everybody for coming. I know we have plans later today. So I appreciate you taking the time to come out. Like Lois pointed out, we mostly have all returners, so it's good to see everybody back again. You've been getting a few emails from me, like Lois has also said, all the information is linked in the emails and also the website, which somebody pointed out that they didn't know that we had a website. We do have a website, hrcrowing.org. I can share that in a second. And so most of the information that I'm going over is also going to be on the website. So the information for the traffic pattern, entrance and exit, the maps for that. Questions that your parents may have, you can direct them to the HRC rowing site. And just like this is a proposed conversation, if there is ever any edits for any information that's sent out, we want to hear your comments back, whether it has to do with the parking lot, if there's a way that we can make things more efficient or safer. Always looking for those comments. And so this year there's the addition, Villanova and Carissa Adams, and the program at Villanova was nice enough to open up some of their space. So where there's currently the jack trainer, the trainer truck will be moved. There's going to be more parking spots over there. And what we had opened that up for is the schools that are arriving earlier during practice. So there's a lot of Notre Dame, Villa Maria, Gwinnett Mercy, Devon Prep. For those schools, we're going to ask that you park in that lot first, because you'll be coming off the water sooner, and we don't have any lighting set up for that section. So those are the thoughts behind that. Also, in addition to parking and car registration, there was a Google form sent out, and everything I'm talking about now, I will send another email after this, once the Zoom link is prepared with the information that I'm speaking about. So for that, it's a pretty simple Google form. I just need the first and last name of your athlete or yourself or your parent on the team. Your team is participating in that. So that's going to be your driver's license number, your car color, the make and the year of the car. And then that is just.
We're not asking for your driver's
It's your license plate
License
number.
number, sorry. There's a big difference. License plate number, sorry.
and make a car.
Make, color, and, yeah, make, color, and, year of the car. And then we'll hand out window clings, which are these. They're just gonna stick.
And I don't care if the family has 4 cars, if you're lucky enough to have that car. 4 registrations.
So it's just this, it's gonna go on the back corner of the driver's side. And then on the back of our
So
window.
it's not a number based on that, you just, yeah, I got it, it's not, each one is.
The reason what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to make them feel responsible that this is private property, technically speaking, it's private property. And that they just can't park wherever they want, they have to follow instructions. We have to have order, okay, Megan,
Yeah, so as the team that arrives last on campus for
wait a minute, talk loud, right?
as the team that arrives last during the week, I know Lois, you shared this earlier that Tim will be joining us, the security guard Tim, will he be directing, the teams that arrive first and leave first?
Yes, but basically, Mario and I are meeting with his boss, Charlie Lofton. And we're gonna go over the extra parking lot and how we want Tim to work that. And it's really up to the coaches to pass on to their kids, it's a pretty big space. And what we have to do right now is to give some order to that lot. And we bought yellow tape and we bought rods, and I don't know if it's gonna work, but we can try. We'll try to get it so that they just don't get there and stop their car. Some order to it. But we'll see. We're constantly trying. That's our biggest problem, is one of them is parking. And also making sure that parents don't come up to here to pick up their children, because that blocks the way.
I think it's worth us all reminding our kids and parents that there's now traffic going both directions, because there's nothing closed at 4 anymore. It's what me a couple times, I thought it like foot traffic.
Washington streets open up or.
Right, yeah, there is more traffic.
Okay.
Yeah,
When I first. The second lot will be like March.
Yeah, so those are, we got the rods that are, I think it was like 72 inches high. So, or whatever, the tallest rods that Home Depot offered to put, to mark those spots where the entrance and hopefully the exit is going to go, in addition to marking where the corner of the middle section will be. So that's one of the last things that we're working on, is the organization of the Villanova lot. And I've had some ideas with Curtis Lois, and we're gonna share that with Tim to see what facilitation makes the most sense. Same thing with that, if you're seeing anything that is or isn't working that you think would work better. Yeah,
The registering a car, that stay open, like if I have a driver who gets their license.
Yeah.
Who gets their license, can they just keep updating that?
yeah, if you, I'm gonna be checking over the next month, 2 months for that, but if it, just send me an email if it happens later, yeah.
For anybody who's starting to gather that information, I had not yet, are you guys sending that link out to your kids, them filling out, or are you guys, yeah, I mean, that seems like the most.
That was the intention, to make it as easy as possible for you guys to collect all that data. If there's an easier way for you, and you just send it an email back. The links, I double, triple check that you should be able to access it. It's no problem. There is a lot of data collection that we are asking for. It's a little bit more organized than that market, at the beginning of this season, and so I think Google form, as long as I set the links appropriately, should be some of the easiest way to collect that. But again, pretty much for anything that's involving a Google form that I've sent out, if you have a better way for your team, the way that your program works to collect that data, that's fine. I just need that in. And as Megan mentioned, we are welcoming back Tim Lowerty back, who was very easy to work with, and I think gelled well with this community. So I think that that's something to look forward to, and he will also help again facilitate the Villanova lot, because that'll be a new fun thing for us to think about this year. Any questions thus far? Okay, moving along. So luckily we do have all returners, but we're gonna go over the same information that we usually do. So it's gonna start with the code of conduct.
Can I just interrupt?
Yeah. So
We have all of the lifts repaired. Right? And I'm very serious. If I see, or it can be validated that somebody is using the lift for chin-ups, I will personally escort them to the gate and tell them never come back. I'm very serious about that, because that's extremely dangerous, both for themselves and for anybody who's around those lifts. I was told that somebody, because when we had the technician come, he said, how did you bend the top? How did you bend the lift? Well, how it was bent was a kid was swinging on it. Now, I didn't see it. I did not see it, but I was told. That's how. So, you know, I just don't want the paperwork with the liabilities. Please. That's really good. This is all. All right. So we're all in, we're all in good steps. Now, what? I should really take them. Why don't we talk about the plans?
that's
that's
the last,
later.
yeah, I'm almost there. So for the code of conduct, it's, I'll share my screen just so we can go over where on the HRC website that we have had for a year and a half, where that is. So where am I going? Share screen. Am I sharing my screen now? Okay, there we go. Okay, sorry.
Look at that.
So this is the, oh yeah, right. So this is the website. If you have any edits, let me know. I did it. But this is the homepage. It looks a little different on your mobile device, whether that's an iPad or a phone. But this is the main part of the website. You can scroll around at your leisure.
That's
It's a
beautiful.
little video of the boat bays.
Yeah, Mario did that.
Good job.
But thank you. So then the main portion I'm going to be speaking about is the resources section. And also on your mobile device, the links should be one of the first things that come down after you scroll down on your phone past the initial image. So you'll have the code of conduct, you have an incident report. If you have a guest that comes on campus, whether it's a school photographer or something like that, we just ask you to fill out a form and just send an email so we know who's on campus. The code of conduct's here, the swim waiver, and the safety guidelines. So the code of conduct, there hasn't been any new additions, so that's the same thing. But again, so it'll be on the website, or if you want to use the agenda or the links that are provided directly in the email, they're the same thing. So moving down to locker rooms and erg rooms, that's just basic courtesy, and we can't always rely on common sense to be common sense. But it's making sure that if you happen to go in the locker room and you see that there's an issue of some kind, like we just had the fire alarms in both locker rooms tampered with. And we don't really have any information on that, but it's those kind of things that once we see that, if somebody can send a note and a text, a call, an email, you see anything that needs to be fixed or that has been changed, that's a really unsafe situation to be in, to have both locker rooms basically not
Well,
be
it's
connected.
also a fiscal. We had the fire marshal is very kind. He comes in, he wants to help you. He looked around and, you know, I did a double take too. Somebody disarmed the fire alarm. Now, I think why they did that was with good intentions to stop the beeping.
Right.
And I'll tell you what we're doing about that. So we have asked our electrician and also the gentleman who put in the alarm system meet with our fire marshal, but we're not telling the electrician that also the alarm guy's gonna be there, and the alarm guy doesn't know the electrician's gonna be. Because they go like this, it's not my fault, not my fault. So, and we said that they have to meet, and I'll be there with Mario. Because technically speaking, I could be fined $1,000 a day. Because the alarms are not correct. Now, I look around here and I say, what's gonna catch on fire? But that's not the point. The point is the fire marshal has to do his job. And he's working with us, and we will have a lockbox on this door here. And I do have a key that opens this door without the code. And the code will probably always work because it's not electric, it's mechanical. So you'll find that. So it's a matter of getting all three people at the same place at the same time. Yes,
In your email about the fire marshal stuff, a lot of it was keeping a path open for where the first, can we mark that path?
I think that's a great idea.
Cause without it marked, people always
Okay.
move it down and we don't know.
You wanted a direct path to the fire panel in the erg room. We
can
talked to
mark
Joe.
one, We can mark one and then when we're not using the ergs, put them up or
Right.
something, but if we're all trying to make it.
That's what we had.
Yeah.
That's most likely.
So those are minor, so I would like to be involved.
Okay, I'm just saying, we mark the path.
it's
Okay,
upstairs.
upstairs, yes.
Nothing's gonna happen without talking to the coaches who's erg. Yeah.
Yeah, we tried to say.
And so that brings us to the erg room. If you need to use ergs and you don't have access to ergs of your own down here, the ergs upstairs are primarily WBC, so you can speak with Joe, or they're Radners, so you can speak with Travis. And nobody should be touching anybody's equipment in general without speaking to the coach and with which it belongs to. That's just a cardinal rule. That should really never happen. And if there's an instance where it does need to happen, that coach needs to be notified, Lois or I should be notified. There really shouldn't be a lot of moving around of equipment that is not yours without somebody being involved. I know, that's just. And then, so with the safety guidelines, with that is also the swim waiver and the course map. So when we come back for the season, I know the roster sizes are changing and everything, but stay on top of it as much as you can, turning in a code of conduct for the Heinz Rowing Center. In addition to the swim waiver, those are the top two things, besides now the car and driver registration, those are just for your drivers, obviously. And like Lois said with that, so there's been a lot of information going on with that, is every single car that that child will be driving can be registered. We have plenty of window plings, it's not an issue, we just want to make sure that we're registered.
And the parents' car too.
Well, the parents aren't allowed to park in here, so
What?
if the parents, that's for parking, the parents aren't supposed to park in here.
No, they're not supposed to park,
Right,
but
so-
actually, I'm trying to get them to realize it's really more the parents.
Right.
To understand that they have to follow the rules
Right.
once they're here. We have about 300 of these little decals.
Mhm. Okay,
And I'll tell you why, also because the parents come in and then they park.
They're not, well, we
I
need
know
to
they're
force
not
that.
supposed to, but they do. And then the masters say, where am I supposed to park? That's the only thing that gives me options. Go ahead.
did we go through the entire safety guidelines last spring? Did we go through it? I feel like I didn't go through the entire document.
I don't think we need to.
I don't think we
no.
need to do that.
I think they're all, I mean, the new ones, just make sure that your new coaches are familiar with the code of conduct, especially the young kids have a tendency to run through the boathouse because they're late, whatever.
The code of conduct and the upper school safety guidelines, even though you've been a coach here, just take a run through. See if there's anything that you have any questions about, or again, any additions that would be helpful to the community of here. We can take a look at them and add them, anything that'll help. That's really my note on that, because this is like 13 pages, and it also includes the swim waiver. And there's also at the bottom of the safety guidelines is the link to the course map for the Heinz Rowing Center or the Upper Schuylkill River. It's from a couple years ago, so I'm sure we can go over that in more detail for this year, because I know that some buoys have changed or been lost, so we can go over those things as we update the course map. Moving on to the coaches and contact list, I have gotten a few notes, so thank you to those who have turned in the information for that. Just take a look. I have a paper copy here. I can pass around. Just wanted to go over it. That's just really so we have the most up-to-date, accurate information, not only in case of emergency, but just in general, so we know who to reach out to. That's pretty much my note with that. This is also linked. But if anybody wants to take a look, I'll leave it up there. And
You wanna pass it around? You keep it.
I was gonna pass maybe after.
You'll lose them.
Also linked, obviously on the digital agenda are the rack assignments or rack assignments and just space assignments in general. If there's any questions or changes with that, let me know. I don't need to go over the whole document. And the out is for the outside racks and the inside is for the inside racks. The launching schedule. That's something that I need everybody to just double check, take a look at, even if nothing has changed, just make sure I didn't make any mistakes creating a launch schedule and handing that out. What I have, I'm moving down to docs, but right now, and again, if this needs to change, please let me know. This is just what made the most sense from the numbers that I have currently. Is all for the docs for launching. All docs will be used for launching during the weekday from 3:15 to 4. Right now. If that needs to change, that's okay, we can talk about it, but right now it's during the weekday, it's 3:15 to 4. On the weekend, it's 7 a.m. to 7:45 a.m. All docs to be used for launching. They're both 45-minute segments. Tried to keep it consistent. That was really if we had 4 or more crew at the same time. I tried to block that out. Yeah.
If we don't get here till 4, if it's 4:15, there is no one coming in, can we have one vote on there as long as can we launch some off that dock? If there's no one coming in with priority to those coming in.
I mean, I would like to keep it to this as much as we possibly can. Hopefully, since that time ends around 4, the regular launching docks will be.
In 4:30, there's a lot of people launched last year. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
As long as, I think as long as everybody's respectful of people
Coming in.
returning,
Yeah.
which is, it can be very difficult, because if there's no one guiding those kids on the dock, that's when it turns into a problem.
Right.
Like if you don't have someone saying, no, there's a boat coming in, stop.
Mhm.
Because I've seen people put boats in and there's a boat literally bow ball to the dock
Mhm.
and they block them. So it's more about like courtesy and making sure that they're following some safety guidelines when they come to that launch dock.
Mhm.
Are you suggesting that perhaps HRC should take the responsibility of having someone on the docks patrolling the launching and the and
I think it's the
I see
coach's
it.
responsibility.
Have a group, if our rowers are going out and we're using the return dock, the launch that we need to be there. And
Someone has to be there.
they're on the launch
A
dock.
coach has to be there guiding, not HRC. It's a coach's responsibility to guide your kid.
yeah, but some, I mean, we know that WBC has a flotilla. And they saw, and it's not a criticism, it's just a fact of life. So we have to learn to deal with it. And what,
Oh,
yeah, you
I
got-
don't want to interrupt. I have something to say.
I know, I stopped in mid-sentence, I'm sorry.
Oh, my comment was with boats coming from different areas of the boathouse, also making sure your crews are aware, because sometimes boats that are going out with the same coach are trying to get in line together, and then there's boats coming straight out of the boathouse that are then cutting into that, so it makes it more of a traffic issue on the water when boats waiting, because they have to wait with 4 boats in between because they get cut off.
Yeah, but I don't think.
No, I know, Megan, you've talked to me a lot about this. Do you have any comments? About,
Oh, good night, Mabel.
trolling, getting ready to go on to the boat.
What this is talking about,
What,
we have a number of us coming out of the boathouse, plus several other teams, obviously. Sometimes there's boats up beside the boathouse, you don't see those, they don't make themselves visible all the time either. So the kids also have to get down, toxins need to yell, hey, we're next in line, because they're sitting there for 10 minutes. And the boat's coming up, coaches just let people know. And I've seen our kids, they just come straight out, like, and I've had to stop sometimes if I'm watching. But, you know.
it is an
we
issue
need to
that
talk to each
I
other
am not
and talk
comfortable with right now.
about these.
Of how to really make this a safe launching time. Right. So, I mean, we know when we know what school to be launching and when, but it doesn't happen that way all the time. It just doesn't, for one reason or another, broken equipment, whatever. I do think that, I mean, I'll be honest, when Marie was here, she was the traffic control cop on the dock.
I think us as coaches need to do more of that. And we should be able to kindly tell other people and our own teams to like, put her on the dock.
No,
move
and
up.
I completely agree. The only reason I didn't want to immediately just say yes is because we can't just rely, I would like to focus on communication,
Right.
exactly. Rather than just assuming people have that kind of organizational sense. So communicating as much as you can, if you have multiple coaches or like a coxswain that you need that isn't gonna be on the boat, but with you in the launch, and help train them to help facilitate that as well. But I agree, that's a big area of traffic, both on the dock and right before the dock. So, did you have another?
Just to go along with safety to make sure junior boats need supervision, right? So having a coach, at least one coach on the water as your crews are going out is important. Sometimes there's no coach on the water and one crew are launching. So if you have somebody helping boats get down, at least have one coach on the water.
Okay, I have some ideas that I've talked.
That's a good note, thank you, Liz. Any other comments or questions on that section right now? Lastly, what Lois was mentioning with cameras, we just wanted to reiterate that there are cameras on campus and that is for the safety of all people involved in addition to equipment and cars, etc. We are creating, Alan, RIT, is putting together information on how to connect to the cameras for all coaches to make sure we have access to them. You do have to be connected to the Wi-Fi here in order to connect to them, so he's just, again, putting together an informational kind of pamphlet or packet for that, and I'll be able to send that out when it's prepared.
And there's two
Test it.
systems. There's a system that the cameras are connected to this building, and then there's the system where the cameras are connected into the mouth building.
Is there a camera that's on the far rack?
Is there where?
Is there a camera that points to the far outdoor rack?
The car,
Outdoor rack.
But down Riverside of the mount building.
Yeah.
Megan, are
We
you
have a lot
seeing
of both
something?
cameras installed.
I was answering Liz's question and I said no.
I have to double check. I know there's one over there. I don't know what, honestly, specifically. the
Every
area
now and then, and
is.
some of the cameras
I'm gonna double check.
teeter out.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure that. I do.
Number 8 out, Mariel.
Yeah, I have that. I'm pushing Alan on that. Docking assignments for launches. I did have a note on that. Thank you for those who returned any notes. I know some things have shuffled around. But really, I mean, the gist of this, I feel like I'm repeating myself. Just please double check links and schedules to make sure that I didn't make any mistakes in information that I sent out. That's really what I have for that. I already mentioned the dock timing right now, and to communicate as much as possible amongst ourselves to keep things a conversation, polite conversation as much as we possibly can. I know it can get stressful when we have boats and kids who don't always know what they're doing. And just like any other race day or any other dock situation, we want to stay on the dock as minimal time amount as possible. So we have people needing to get to practice. We have coaches that have allotted their time for the practice, and we want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to embrace their full practice time. That's my note with that. And then moving on to water. I know Lois, you wanted to step in on this section. Lois, did you want to step in on the water section?
Well, to be honest with you, I really want the people who are on the water to talk about water safety. I don't coach. I mean, I'm in a boat and I'm there as a tour guide, sort of. But all of you, but I've been on the water enough to say, oh my word, this river is too crowded. Very crowded. And I'm not really sure how to correct it. I can't say, oh, you can't row out of here anymore. You can't row out of here anymore. That's not going
You
to.
can't though, if anyone can, it's either.
Yeah.
Right, and then, but I think actually, what I'm thinking about is after we're on the water, like, till like maybe into mid-March, it's time for a couple of people to get together and say, okay, we got to sort this out. This isn't working. This is dangerous. So, that's,
I've been here a long time. I think the thing that helps the most on the water is communicating to each other.
right.
Like, can I pass you now? Or are you about to start? I get in a nice way, but it's like, you're the only person who asks. I think if we say, are you gonna stay here for 3 minutes, or do I need to try and get around you? Or I think if people just communicated more, it would all work a little smoother, because someone said I'm the only person to ask if I can go around them or not, like. Because some will stop for 15 minutes. I'm like, well, they're stopping for 2 minutes.
Well,
They communicated.
I know I was
Nice.
in a launch once. I think Travis, you took me out, and my God, there was like 15 eights that had to come back. I said, oh my word, this is awful. Especially if it's cold weather, so we have to figure out, part of it is get onto the dock, get off of the dock, get onto the dock, get off of the dock. That's number one that has to happen. And then number two, use your common sense. Now, I know, Matt, what time do you finish launching? About when?
What day of the week?
When?
On what day are you talking about?
Monday through Friday,
We launch about 5:15, 5:15.
5:55. So, I know that you're launching from the upriver launch number one that I was.
We're launching from the launch dock.
Right. After that, I mean, we gotta start using all the docks to come back. But we have to make sure you're done launching. You know, and that's,
The only people that are coming back that late are us in Lower Marion. But at 7:30 at night, on the White Marsh Man, so we're all using all the docks to return after like 6:30.
Yeah.
But, you know,
okay,
but it's
all
usually
right.
later on that.
Each other, hey,
7:15,
go-
7:17
go back
return.
We also all wear lights.
Right, lights and all, we all have to have on that. Oh, okay, guys, I think. Put that vote.
Karen, they're going over your head, over your head.
Are you also from this table? You don't have any-
Yes.
Good. Okay, where are we?
We're almost finished here. I appreciate everyone again being here and focusing to the top of it. So we're still in the water and safety guidelines and that. A reminder that when we're going off the dock, we need to be away from the dock before we spin. We can't be shoving off of the dock and then spinning in front of our dock. Really, even if there's no traffic, it's to continue to establish that pattern for safety. To go past our docks, really past the CRC docks and then turn.
That's the CRC.
Past the CRC.
No.
No,
Oh, Bill, sorry.
Villanova. It's
Between Villanova. Villanova is not up rivers, we connected by curb between here and Villanova, if you're done right now, right? The bigger problem there, is some kids are not watching, the boat tray go in the water, and you start spinning at the dock, your stern swinging back into the dock. And you're turning, and I don't think.
I don't have an answer, but we all tend to sit right here when we're waiting to get the crews together.
Yeah.
Is there some way we can, agree? And I don't know the answer, but like if everyone's trying to wait for all the crews to get together before they go upstream. Can we have maybe our crews stay single file with our crews, or, I mean, there's gotta be some way, and I'm not sure what it is, but.
Part of that solution is making sure your group is launching together.
Yeah, which is not always possible,
Not always possible, but.
and right, but even if they're. It's hard to keep each,
Sitting.
And making
Group
sure
together.
together out on the water.
well, I have a coach on the water, it's, but we're trying to get them to sit so they don't go off without their coach. I think maybe if I keep mine single file versus sitting 2x2, it's probably a help.
Or if you had a lead coach out on the water to help your crews
Go up.
meet up, yeah.
I was gonna say the biggest thing, I mean, there is space with the Villanova dock upriver now a little bit. The biggest problem is usually encountered, coach pushes the boat off, especially with the younger, less experienced rowers. They sit there and wait. Well, depending on the conditions that day, they're sitting and they're drifting the other side of the river.
But they have to wait, because they're not allowed to go anywhere
Right,
without
but
their
they
coach.
can keep their boat straight and in the right spot. Our coach said to sit and wait.
So it's like
yes.
maybe if our on both
Right.
sit single file. or
Keep
something
your
like
boat
that.
where it belongs. I mean, I just went over that with our kids on the water again today. I don't know if they're
Probably.
if you're listening, but keep your boat pointed straight up river and pay attention to the conditions. They're not hard things to do. It's just make sure that they understand that they, because you said sit there and wait for me, doesn't mean they can't do anything.
Stay out of the way.
It's actually like coordinated, it's kind of like
Right.
where as opposed to.
Right.
When you, before you get out of view,
Yeah.
in case you have one boat that also has mechanical. Which can happen, that might make a lot of sense. Similar to like how we manage the launch times, we want to manage coordination point time, so coordination with areas on the water to kind of allow for traffic that is set to go, they can go, while others are waiting for a coach, this is where you sit. And then something along those lines.
I also want to mention one other thing. Remember that they're building condos, apartments, and people are gonna walk along the river. People are attracted to the water. That's why they bought them. And I had to fence run down as far as they would put it, trying to keep the separations and yet keep running. We may have some issues with some of the residents coming over as they finish building. And I think we have to be very, very careful and remember to be polite to tell them, you know, that they cannot come onto our docks. They can't fish, they can't launch their kayaks, they can't do, you know, in that sense. Am I permitted to do that? I'm not certain I am. You know, I don't know about it.
They can be for one.
The only attracted to the dock.
Well, yeah, Mike.
I'll make sure I'm very clear on it.
I'll recommend having time, and then also just making sure that when they, a tiny way. And probably have access, public access. That's where you go.
I mean, we have very good relations with Sarah Peck, who's actually the developer. I mean, you know, for that whole group, but, we have some new neighbors. And, we'll really feel the significance of that, I think, in the fall, not in the spring. Anyway, we'll see. Go ahead. Okay, so, all right. Okay. Oh, the one thing I wanted to mention, please. If you decide to buy another launch boat, especially a tour, what I call the tour guides. I don't care where you put it, as long as it's not on our docks. You can put it in a tree, you can walk it up to Villanova. But we do not have any more room for any more launches. It's just incredible. I watch you hop across the water to get into a launch now, but oh man, nothing's worse than if you ever fell between the boats. So, no more tour boats. Where's Villanova? Oh, there, you're Bryn Mawr, you're the one who has the tour boats. All right, I think and everybody knows about the megaphones downriver. Make sure your new coaches understand the reason that they have to be very quiet then. Right. Eventually, I'm sure we're gonna have the fish commissioner come up and visit us.
Abigail, yeah.
Yeah, Abigail. Yeah, she's very eager to help. Oh, and if anything ever happens, an accident, I have to know immediately. And also, the AD usually in other words, we have to file, I have to file people immediately. And if there is an accident, a serious accident. What's the difference between an accident and a serious accident? I'd rather be told too much than too little. You know, in that sense.
Just gonna jump back up really quick. So we just want to make sure that you have the proper PA fishing boat registration. So there should be stickers. I think it's like at least 2.5 inches high on the side of 3 inches on the side of your boat high. It should have maybe a sticker, something to notate the name of your crew that the program belongs to. And to also, if you don't, for some reason already have your, you need to carry that license, that registration with you. So I know her name, we just kept it in a plastic bag, Ziploc bag, just to make sure it wasn't outside of the water. But that's important in addition to making sure that you have enough life vests for every person. that if you're having a child in the launch, they need to have a safety vest on. They need to make sure that you have enough safety vests for the crew that you're taking. There's also on the PA Fishing Boat, that website, they have a checklist if you need me to send it out again and. But that also includes a whistle, that includes having an oar, like a paddle. So there's a couple things that you need to make sure are on your launch list. And we haven't had too much trouble, at least since I've been here over the past couple of years. With checks, but there has been a few, so if they're feeling particularly interested in speaking to coaches, just make sure you need to make sure you have those things present. That is the bulk of it. There will be two YouTube videos or two videos uploaded to the HRC YouTube account. One demonstrating how to use the lifts for the inside of the boathouse. One demonstrating how to use the ladder to take down a boat on the outside of the boathouse. If you have any questions about that, let me know, but I'll be sending out those links once those videos are finished being uploaded. Just like Lois said, all of the lifts are now fixed. In addition to if a child had been hankering around with it, it's also if the arms of the lift get stuck underneath, which really is being used properly, that's also going to cause damage to our equipment and warping the direction that the arms are going. That's pretty much the bulk of it. Are there any current questions or comments? Yeah.
But is it, if the list starts to malfunction, like, they let you know, Mario?
Yeah.
That you kind of keep track and like fix them as they break, as opposed to having 7 or 8 of them broken and still in use.
It's a perfect note.
All of this have numbers on the side, I think except one, like by the handle there. So it's easy enough to keep track. And right now, unless they've gotten switched around over the last couple of weeks, but we tried to put 1 and 2 in here, 3 and 4, the next aisle, I think 5 and 6, and 7 and 8 in the back. But, you know, that way if we keep them in the right places, and we know these were ones broken on, we know the numbers too, but 8 is working this, right? Yeah.
Correct.
I think the only one that doesn't have a number might be number 8. I think 1 through 7 have those stickers on the side of the handles.
That's a perfect note to leave off on, just reiterating, if there's anything that you see that's out of place or looks unsafe, and you're even slightly questioning it, please just run it by me, let me know, myself or Lois, so we can get that taken care of. Because again, to close out, safety is the number one most important thing, yeah.
Going on safety, boats that are on the downriver racks, because of where the trailers are right there, don't really have clearance to swing. I know it's something I talked to you about before. So we normally go behind the mounts trailer and then swing to get out. I think there's some boats that aren't doing that swing, are clipping boats. So if we can make sure crews are going out from those racks down there, know how to get out properly without hitting other boats, that'd be great. We had damage through it.
We discussed, you, as a coach, you're actually responsible for your kids. So you can't leave until all of them are gone. I mean, we sat here and waited, like, these kids are done. And they're just sitting there waiting for a ride. When you're in local Ferrante, something happens to them, it comes back to whoever's coach that was first. You're responsible insurance fund. So please remember that you have to be here for them. Can't just vote.
We've been discussing that a lot too, and especially under safety, the safe sport guidelines, like having one coach stuck with kids waiting or one kid waiting is not an ideal situation for us. You know, our coaches want to have at least 2 wait till the last kid picked up, hopefully, work that out. But yeah, it's, remind the parents, something happens, there's an accident, something delayed, something that right away, so you know why you have to wait and have someone waiting with you. But it's, he said, we are responsible for them while they're here, so. But you must say, also remind the parents that it isn't the old days anymore where not, I'd say Kurt, I've been here with other kids and just find something to make myself look busy or sit in my truck and wait. But wait for other kids teams.
So kids should be supervised too while they're waiting. Just sending your kids out and saying, see you later. Sometimes causes problems.
Yeah, it should be going up toward the gate, maybe not hanging out by the racks and other people's ways of them to do things too. But they should be calling their parents so that the parents know they're ready to get picked up. You know, waiting so that the cars aren't back in the driveway either.
I could say through the years, most of you, if not all of you, have tried to keep us informed, us meaning the Heinz Rowing Center. We have a need to know. In other words, if you're gonna be moving a trailer or, you know, you're having a mechanic come in, and mechanics come in all the time for launches, I understand that. But anything in the general concept of the property, we need to know, and so please just send us an email. Both to Mario and myself, you know our, you know, I won't dare change my email, even though it's a really silly email. Meniscus.com. But you're not talking to one another. I'm just wondering why we're not talking to one another. Did we cover everything? Do you have any more questions? Do you wanna complain about something? Could we be doing something better? Tell us. Tell us. And it's obvious to me that I have to be here more often. And I hope to do that. My days are not taken up as much as they were. So, and I'll get to know things, and, you know. Oh, that's strange. I was wondering whose blue single is up there. Is that a Brynmar?
I'm gonna shut this off.
For now, it's rented, but yeah.
Okay. All right, just, you know, little things like that.
I'm gonna cut the Zoom recording, okay? Is everyone okay with that? Good to close? Okay.
Had to close.
Thank you for joining on Zoom. I will be sending this out via email. Thank you for joining.
And we do